So my name is Ashley Ogonda. I'm really, really glad to be able to be part of this conversation. So thank you so much to Alliance for AI and Zind for inviting me. I am a journalist. I've been a journalist for the last, coming up to 8 years now. And for most of those years, I have not used AI. But just to quickly go back to my intro, I'm actually based here in Nairobi. I've worked in journalism in London for companies like Channel 4 and Channel 5, and now I currently work for the BBC here in Nairobi. But before I even start, I would love to just first caveat, put a strong pause and say, I am not an AI expert. I am speaking for the people who have recently discovered it with the advent of ChatGPT and have come to understand and realize just the lengths at which it can benefit my productivity. So I would love to share with you how I've been using it in my world of work and also in my personal life. So we'll start with first how I've mainly been utilizing AI professionally. So one of the things that we obviously do as journalists is we kind of have to be a jack of all trades. You're telling stories about so many different people and communities, and a large part of that is involving you learning about these communities. So what I've found AI with ChatGPT specifically, it's been so useful to just help me to understand how to start that process of getting to know a particular community. So for this example, I was doing a story about a community known as the Hyundai people. They're kind of indigenous to DRC, not kind of, they are indigenous to the DRC, DR Congo. And I don't think not many people know about them just because they're a very small tribe. So even taking on the task of telling this story was already quite intimidating. I hope you can see me. Can we all see me? Just confirm if you can still see me.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Yeah, so I found AI to be super useful in helping me build guided frameworks for research. And it's also been extremely useful for giving me like a quick access to historical context about communities like the Hyundai people, for example. But the more important effort that it's really served is helping me to find a catalog of recognized organizations that and resources that can help me and assist me in my research process, basically. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes, excuse me, sorry, I am really intimidated when I see a blank page and you just have to start filling it. When I go to ChatGPT, for example, and I send a prompt like, hey, can you help me understand more about the Hyundai people, help me build a research framework for learning about them. It kind of gets rid of the anxiety of just working from a blank page, and it sets like a building block for you to start working from. So I find it super useful for that. The other thing that I really enjoy using AI for is in my work is generating content ideas. So this can look like once you've actually amassed all of this historical knowledge about the people group, if I was to do that story, for example, once you've amassed all of this knowledge and information about a particular story, what do you actually do with it? For the most part, you don't need to tell everything from A to Z. You kind of just need to niche and hone in on one single aspect and build a story from that. So this also AI I've found with ChatGPT specifically, it's helped me to kind of break down, okay, what are the cultural, what would be in the example for the Hyundai people, what would be the cultural traditions that they would adhere to? What kind of artistic expressions are they known for? What are practices that are indigenous to them, for example, that we can tell stories about? It really helps to break down the research and just turn the content ideas that you have into an actual story rather than like I said, be intimidated by working from a blank page. It just helps you with a springboard. Lastly, I want to also show, this is not the last slide, but I also wanted to share what I would not use it for. I wouldn't use or rely on AI so far just for finding sources. Sorry, did I hear someone? Oh, sorry. Okay, never mind. I wouldn't use AI to rely on finding my sources. And because I feel like some of the information that you end up finding there is a little bit outdated. And I still feel like there's better resources that you can go to validate the information or claims that you're making in your stories as a journalist. Also, there's this kind of industry jargon that we always use, which is to say that a journalist is only as good as their sources. And as much as ChatGPT is super useful for productivity and helping you be more productive in your work, I still don't think it can fully replace the quality of sources that you acquire from years of investing relationships and, relationships with actual people without just researching. This is one of those things that just can't be replaced quite as easily, at least not just yet. We don't know what the next 10 years has in store for us. The other thing that I would say that I wouldn't rely on AI for is audience engagement only. So say, for example, that you're covering a breaking news story as a journalist. If you completely replace your audience engagement with AI, you might end up in a situation where you're feeding inaccurate information to your audience on a live you're giving live updates that are inaccurate. So usually in cases of breaking news, even when you're not working with AI, you have to be super sensitive about what you're saying, because there's always something constantly changing, hence the nature of breaking news. So you really need to be more hands-on in such a situation. And those are the kind of predicaments that I would not recommend using AI for. And lastly, I did say that I also use AI on more, to be honest, I use it more for personal reasons than professional. And one of the ways I wanted to share is I use it to literally plan everything. And when I say anything, I say anything and everything can be planned with AI. So recently I started taking powerlifting seriously. I became a proper powerlifter and I'm preparing for my first competition in August. And I went to AI and I went to ChatGPT rather, and I asked ChatGPT to create a 9-week powerlifting program that would help me max out on my current 1-rep maxes for the squat, deadlift, and bench press lift, which are the 3 lifts that you do in powerlifting. And lo and behold, it created you can't see all of it here, but it created such a detailed a very detailed 9-week program that was all inclusive with things like deloading and all these intricacies that you tend to see when you work with a personal trainer. It had all of that in the program, and this is one of the things that really astounded me about ChatGPT. I have friends who've said that they use it for meal planning, they use it for PowerPoint presentations, for example. I didn't use it for this one, funny enough, but I found it still super, well, apart from these screenshots that you see, but I find it amazing the kind of things that it has simplified in our day-to-day lives. And I think that's the real magic of AI and artificial intelligence. It's benefiting us at a very, micro personal level, and it's affecting our lives on the whole. And for me, it has been super useful, super helpful in my professional and personal life. And yeah, that is what I had to share. I don't know if I opened the floor to questions. Betty, please let me know what you'd like me to do next.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Questions will be done right after all speakers have gotten a chance to actually speak. So let's just keep the questions rolling in. I'm actually finding it interesting that you use ChatGPT for powerlifting. I mean, to enhance your hobbies.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like I was also shocked by how well it created such. When I say, guys, I took this program to one of the best lifters in Kenya and I showed them, this is the sample program that it created. And it actually, like, they were able to certify it as a legit program, basically. And that's somebody who's been learning and training people for years and years, and they were able to identify that this is actually a proper program. Now, what I still ended up doing is tweaking it to sorry, I've had to adjust it based on more research that I've done on powerlifting. But it was, again, what I think I'm seeing a consistent theme. It's a great springboard to develop your ideas even more. So it helps ease the anxieties of working on a blank page, giving you something to work with that you can further develop into something more amazing.